Hello there, my name is Trog, and this will be my tutorial discussing advanced methods of getting Wind Waker dives. In this guide, I'll be assuming you've already watched my introduction to storage. You'll find a link to that in the description below, so assuming you're ready, let's get started. In the introductory video, we discussed how to Wind Waker dive by climbing a ledge and a camera blocking object. However, in many cases this won't be an option to you. What I have here is a very common occurrence. I'd like to store this chest, but the environment around me gives me nothing to work with to get a Wind Waker dive in the usual manner. Despite this, I still have a few options to get storage. The easiest method utilizes a bomb to get a dive, using a technique I will be referring to as a bomb push dive. A bomb push dive takes advantage of the fact that the collision between Link and a bomb is quite strange. The game really doesn't like having actors occupy the same space, and by walking into a bomb, Link gets pushed backwards. If we pull out the Wind Waker right when the bomb starts pushing us, we can get a Wind Waker dive, and if we time it correctly, we can get storage. To get a bomb push dive, we need Link to be standing very close to the edge of a ledge. I'll be using this chest here for this particular example as my ledge. The positioning for this is somewhat precise. Thankfully, though, we have an easy method for setting this up. Start by having Link stand at the edge of this chest. Then, press L to have Link target the edge of this chest. At this point, just jump slash. Assuming your angle was correct, you should now be in position to get a bomb dive. Note that this setup with a jump slash can be done with a variety of different ledges. It doesn't have to be chests. The height of the ledge is the only important part. Now that we're in position, let's get the dive. There are two primary methods of getting it. The first method I recommend all new players to pick up is the one I find to be the easiest, but I'll show both methods to give you some options. The first step is to place the bomb. If you use R to place the bomb, make sure you don't hold it for too long or Link will slip off like that. But after you place it, wait for Link to fully stand up after placing it, and in this case it's now. Now at this point, press the Wind Waker button. If timed correctly, you should get a dive. Now the timing for this is important. You will have a 6-frame window to pull up the Wind Waker to get that dive. It needs to be right when Link is fully standing up. So if you miss this 6-frame window and don't end up getting a dive, then there's actually no worries. We do have a backup plan. In the case that you don't get it, you will want to hold target and then hold up to walk forward. You will want to walk into the bomb for just a handful of frames, usually between 4 and 9. So continue holding up, and at this point, pull out the Wind Waker. If you timed it correctly, you should get a dive. The other method of getting this type of Wind Waker dive is perhaps a setup you may see many runners use, myself included actually. This was the original method of getting a bomb push dive, and thus the one you may see many older runners have grown accustomed to. Despite this, I strongly encourage you to try the previous setup first, as I find it objectively easier than this one. Despite that, this is how this one works. It's actually very similar to the previous method. But when we pull out the Wind Waker, we don't do it within that 6-frame window to get that instant dive. What we do instead is we just do a 180-degree turnaround and then pull out the Wind Waker. By doing this, we assure ourselves that we are not getting that instant dive unexpectedly. Now at this point, it's very similar to the previous setup and in the backup plan. All we do is we just hold forward for a few frames rather, and we get that dive. I'd like to briefly walk you through an additional scenario you may encounter. In this situation, I've activated chest storage, and I'd like to get storage one more time off this chest so I can super swim away from here. The problem here is that, well, chest storage has altered our collision so much that I can no longer utilize that normal jump slash method of getting into position. So in this situation, this is the setup I currently use. I line up with the edge of the chest like normal. I then backflip, and then jump slash twice. From here, you should be able to proceed with a normal bomb push dive. This setup works reliably with the hero sword, and thankfully most speedruns we only use this method of getting a Wind Waker dive before we get the Master Sword. However, if a better setup is found that works with the Master Sword, I'll be sure to link a video to that in the description. Bomb push dives are a very useful tool to have in your arsenal. It opens up many new locations for storage. It's important to note that this type of dive is not unique to bombs. Many objects are capable of getting this type of push dive. For example, you could use pots, trees, and even bushes to get this kind of Wind Waker dive. As with all of these dive methods, simply walk into the object and press the Wind Waker button right before the object pushes you off the ledge. Another method of getting a Wind Waker dive is called a slope dive. This is actually the original method of getting a Wind Waker dive, and perhaps the most situational. That being said, slope dives require no additional objects and can be used when no other method is possible. Although this method does require Link to have normal collision detection, so you cannot have chest storage. The way to get this type of dive is actually pretty straightforward. Just in places where there's a slope at the edge of a ledge, we can utilize a well-timed Wind Waker pull right before Link would otherwise jump off that ledge. You can usually tell if a slope dive is possible if you can see Link's feet at different heights near the edge, like in this case here. Now the timing for the Wind Waker pull is quite precise and usually around 1 to 2 frames. At the time of this recording, the majority of these dives have no reliable setups. The most common method to attempt one is just to quickly pull out the Wind Waker and get closer and closer and hope you get it. To give you a rough idea of where some slope dives can be done, here are a couple examples. If better setups are found, I'll be sure to link videos in the description below. Perhaps I'll have a link to your video in your discovery. So what I've shown you today is just a few additional tools to getting Wind Waker dives. Check out zeldaspeedruns.com to see pictures of dozens of more examples of Wind Waker dives. As always, links are in the description. I can guarantee you, without a doubt, that there are places to get dives that have yet to be discovered. So go explore, see what you can find. Don't hesitate to ask questions in the comment section or in the Wind Waker speedrunning Discord. Check the description below for other tutorials in this amazing game. Hope this has been a help to you. My name is Trog, and thanks for watching.